Hello and welcome to BW London podcast. And I'm calling this podcast number one purely because I'm not going to be focusing on any specific topic, but just like the stuff that is on my heart right now, basically. And I'll probably put in the comments a link to the different stuff so you can jump from where you need to go. So I'm having a hard time with what we're calling quotes conspiracy theories because I'm bored of it. I'm just bored of it. Watching Kanye West, on these big rants and so on. And you've got people like, oh, he's just spitting the truth. I even have one of my most conscious friends saying, I ain't heard nothing he say ain't the truth. Are you kidding me? From time we can hear Kanye and his opinion, he's been put on. He has been put on. There's nothing secret about what if he was spitting pure truths and facts, he'd be hidden. We wouldn't hear from him. I, People don't understand the level to which this world and these people and Illuminati and all of this is so calculated. It's so calculated. I'm just over it. I am over it. So for my work, my main work that I do, I did a project for the last month or so with the BBC. If you're not from the UK, that's like, I don't know, a big network, a big TV network. And it was only 5 minutes as part of a show. And let me tell you, they spent 3 to 4 days recording. They interviewed me for 45 minutes. They interviewed people that I employ for nearly a whole day. They recorded, we're entertainers. They recorded us for at least 3 hours. The parking was 2 hours plus the additional. So yeah, for about 3 to 4 hours, they recorded us. And then they made this little 5 minute segment. They even took some of my words out of context. It was good, by the way. I'm not criticizing it, but they took some of my words out of context to build the narrative that they want to build. As you know, you hear about them doing that a lot with like reality TV and stuff. But I thought, look at that. This is just a small example of how much they cover everything. They cover everything. This is me going back to Kanye West, like nothing is by accident. Oh my God, nothing is by accident. They covered all of their bases to make that 5 minute show. What happens when they're making an hour piece or a 40-minute piece? The level of calculation involved. Listen, I heard some people talking about, I don't know who Sneeko and another guy, if I can find it, I'll put a clip up. They were talking about racial issues and, Sneeko being mixed race. I love hearing mixed race people talk because they naturally take on both arguments. Because he was basically saying it's all right for a black person to say, oh, we're good at the arts and white people can't dance. But as soon as a white person says, oh, we're better at something that they're good at, everyone's in their feelings. So I hear the point. Why am I bringing up this point? I'm bringing it up because that is what white people do. They reign in marketing, advertising, taking a product, branding it, running with it. They have got these type of. This is why they run things right now. Not only that is prophecy, it's Babylon system. This is what they were meant to be doing. The Europeans were always going to take over in this way. Do you know what I mean? It really is just prophecy. But let's put that aside. My point is the way in which they cover everything. My point is nothing is by accident. So if Kanye West is out there blabbing a bunch of nonsense, it's not by accident. And I haven't really endorsed or taken on any of it. I couldn't even tell you. I think I listened to a tiny thing for 3 minutes and then I thought, oh, this is about the Jews. We're trying to be anti-Jewish right now. Would make sense because, again, prophecy that the Jews, things will come back on top for them, blah, blah, blah. I don't want to be too specific about that because I'm not actually 100% how that goes down. But that's what that is about. And then you heard the whole white lives matter, the whole racial tension, all of it. But my point is, again, nothing is by accident. Kanye is not spitting any truth. Right now, we're living this woke society where you're meant to feel like you're getting knowledge and you really know what's going on and the people at the top are being exposed. Nonsense. The people at the top are just like the video, the recording that we did for the little documentary that I did over the last month. They will spend days and weeks and so on just for a little 5 minute thing. So every little thing we see, every little thing Kanye's spitting has been planned, written down, projects written, all the different scenarios. They are that deep. They are. When you look at, people who know about how they brought in hip hop and the prisons, and they combined it all together to ensure that black people would think a certain way and so on. It's very calculated. Psychology, they have this stuff down. I can't express that enough. So when I then see all of this stuff about Balenciaga, calculated. No, they haven't been exposed. So Balenciaga now, so you've got them being exposed in quotes, calculated, written down, documented, meant to happen. The Balenciaga thing, once you get, I was on TikTok after the incident, you had people ripping up clothes, burning up clothes. It's a ritual. Whenever they get people from the masses, from the general public, doing the same thing monotonously, it's a ritual. You're feeding into some kind of energy and some kind of demon. Facts. Same thing. You see them all over TikTok. You know when they were doing that thing where women were touching their juices and putting it on their necks and stuff, which is disgusting, but it's satanic and it's a ritual. Same thing when you saw TikTok doing that thing. All the young people were using that app so the women look like men and the men look like women. Hundreds of thousands of young children doing it. It's a ritual. When you get lots of people doing the same thing, it's an energy and it's something demonic. Something demonic feeds off of it. So yeah, so I'm getting really frustrated, and it's one of the reasons I haven't really made a video about any of this stuff because it's jarring. It's just I kind of to even have the conversation, like everything is planned, everything. So that leads me on to even when the Dharma thing was going on, when Dharma, when it came out on Netflix, I more or less watched it immediately. It was very entertaining, but I immediately realized that this is again this there's more to this story. For example, he knew how to dissect the human body and do certain things in a certain way because they didn't mention none of that. They didn't mention where his dad worked and how he had learned these things at his through his dad's workplace because they were affiliated. When I when I watched the whole show, I watched it one way. Then I saw some interviews with his dad. I was like, this man is disordered. This man's got issues. He's narcissistic. Ugh. Like, look at his father. So his father had a his father had a lot to do with it. I think one of the hardest things for me when watching that, because I'm a Christian, I was like, I think Dharma might have actually been saved. He said, as crazy as that sound, he said all the right things. He explained that believing that you can do what thy will, which is the whole Illuminati satanic big belief, do what thy will because there are no consequences. You can do what you want. He himself realized that with that level of lack of fear, it wasn't conducive. It would appear that Dharma actually got a revelation of the one true God, and as crazy as that seems, because when I first heard that Dharma might be saved, I got really angry, and I thought it's not my place to feel this way, but I did. But the more I deeped it and heard him actually speak about Christ, I was like, my God, he may have actually got the revelation after all this was said and done because the true evil was his father. But even that, I couldn't be bothered to burn energy even talking and meditating about it at the time because it was like they just lied to you. They literally just lied because it wasn't long before that I realized that a lot of these crimes, you know, the gun crimes where the police shootings, the children school shootings and stuff that happen in America, a lot of them are premeditated. They're rituals too, and as disgusting as that sounds, they really are. And when I first got wind of it was when I somehow knew, I think through something I was watching, the price of certain guns, and then I was like, isn't that the guns that they used for the school shootings? But those people were meant to be really poor. How on earth did they afford that? And then the more I looked into it, I was like, my gosh, this is where MK mind control and these things come in. They're ritualistic. The extent to which things are calculated. Like I said, just being on that BBC show, although I already knew it, to actually be in it and witness it and watch how much mind goes into something just to filter down to a product, my gosh, we're not ready. The way we're not ready. As much as I think I'm comprehending it, it's still beyond my comprehension how deep they go with this. Um, so yeah, so those are my thoughts really on the Balenciaga and the Dharma thing. Something that did cross my path was Derrick Janx. His wife gone nuts. I can't remember her name or how to say her name, but yeah, his wife gone nuts. She's preaching the Bible at people. She's spitting hate. She's preaching about, I hope that your children die, and anyone who talks bad about her and her husband, she hopes that their children has illnesses and really wicked stuff. And then she's insisting that that is the correct biblical way to pray. Now it's funny that that came up because I read the Bible with my children weekly, and while we're in the Psalms right now, we go from front to back. And while in the Psalms, I remember having that thought, like, look at the way God is constantly praying away enemies, and more or less exactly what she says, praying evil upon them and so on. I was thinking, but this isn't what we're taught in Christianity. Is this what we're meant to pray? Or is this what we're meant to pray when we feel um, someone's done us wrong? And I was a little bit confused for a while, but then I realized, keep the Bible within its context. The Psalms is David as he's going through his different walks of life, and this was applicable to his life. It doesn't write away the New Testament that says pray for your enemies, give them the other cheek, and so on. That's for us, that's for the new Christian. So you cannot justify those kind of beliefs for yourself as she is doing. But it's just nuts because I've also got another channel, even smaller than this one, a very small channel, and it's all about narcissistic abuse, and it's done in audio because it was when I was in the thick of it. It was part of my healing, and I did a video on them, and I went back and listened to it, and I was like, I knew it ages ago. I called her. If anyone cares to hear it, just let me know, because I don't see myself as a popular channel. I don't need to add this kind of stuff. But if someone specifically asks, I'll throw it in the comments. But I've done a video on her about 2 years ago now, and it talks about, I call her a religious narcissist, and it is so accurate. It is so accurate because that's what she is, and she's a nutter too, absolute nutter. But yeah, it was just interesting that, because it's just funny that she decided to pray that way not long before I questioned my own self, like, is that how we're meant to pray? But babe, you're not David, you're not an Israelite, you ain't got no Egyptians after you, you've got none of this stuff going on. So relax. And I just actually pray that she comes back to some kind of real truth and actually does think like a Jesus believer. Because even the word Christianity, I don't see it nowhere in the Bible. Because Christianity has been so paganized, so paganized. Like everything about it, like no wonder we appear to be the biggest hypocrites that ever walked. Because it's nonsense, the commercial side of it that we see. But so yeah, that was one other thing that has been in my wake in the last few months. And so I've got some videos where I talk about, obviously, Kevin Samuels, and I'm very much into the manosphere and, learning all what they have to say. Although it can be a little bit extreme, because I recently learned about incels. I watched a documentary on it. I never even heard of it before, but they're like abandoned men in society that they get no form of play with women. They hate women with a passion. They feed into each other's anger, and the manosphere really feeds into them, the red pill as they call it, but it's a much more extreme version of it. And so yeah, within that world, you've got just Pearly Things. I done a community post about her because she makes me so angry. This ginger flat faced cow. Oh, she makes me so angry. Honestly, she's just out here spitting all of. And even Kevin Samuel emulates others. He was a whole plant in itself, but she's now being planted, and she sits on panels with black men and black women and just talks a whole bunch of nonsense. She just marketed and packaged the whole thing. It's purely for money, and it's disgusting. The woman is disgusting. She's got a fetish for black men, an absolute fetish. She used to date that guy called Angry Man, and somehow they've managed to keep that really off the internet. And it's amazing. Even some of the videos that were done recently, they're suddenly deleted. I plan to make a video on her a while back when I did a community post, and even before that, all the videos I've saved, they're no longer accessible because she's got real people on her side. Like I've always said, Kevin Samuel was sacrificed for the likes of Tate and people like that to come up, including ABBA and Preach, although Preach probably ain't none the wiser, but ABBA definitely is. the fresh and fits and all of them. Like, it is a movement, it is an agenda. What they're doing out here is to keep people apart, it is to push the whole men being more like women, women being like more like men. This is a real agenda, but she's been planted in the thick of it. She's making a lot of money, and she just winds me up. Just her voice winds me up. She's just a copycat. She's an absolute copycat. And then she had that thing with the roommates guy, where he got made to look like a complete idiot. Now, I've never liked him, to be honest. He just, there's something about him, he makes my skin crawl. And then in this video, he made my skin crawl even more. But however, I couldn't not agree with him. He recognized that she's just a package. She's just packaged this whole red pill thing for her own benefit, and it's just a joke. She's even making claim to what do we call it, wife school, when that was something that Kevin Samuel used to say all the time, and she doesn't even mention him when she says that. But yeah, the roommates guy, like I said, he got made to look like a fool because he actually is a little bit of a fool. However, I understood his point. But yeah, this woman, she just makes me furious. It's a lie, and it's just embarrassing. It's embarrassing watching so many men pander to her, women being made to sit around there all obediently as she just spits these points that she herself don't care about. I once heard her say that she's helped a lot of how could she be racist? I've helped a lot of Nigerian men with their marketing and advertising, and trust me, that comment's going to be buried. I wouldn't even know where to find it myself now, but it's like, that's her true character, you know. She's that obnoxious white woman. That's what she is. Can't stand her. Honestly, can't stand her. She's always banging on about, oh, she's average. The woman's a solid two. She's a big butch cow, and she's masculine. She plays like she's feminine, pretends to wear dresses, and that she is masculine. She's like the rest of the independent. The same thing the red pill are anti, that independent woman. She is that. She actually is that. You know, she's making her money. She can't stand her. Yeah, I call her Becky. But so yeah, I'm not gonna give no more energy to her. So I love Christmas. I didn't get Christmas growing up because I grew up as a Jehovah's Witness. But it was hard this year. I put up my decorations a lot later than normal because the truth of the matter is it's a paganized holiday. Everything about it, the whole Satan clause, the whole red and white, it's so ritualistic. Again, like I was saying with the Balenciago and all the TikTok stuff, when you get lots of people doing lots of things at the same time, we're feeding a demon and an energy. And my decorations are up. I couldn't hold back because last year I brought a bunch of gold cutlery and beautiful plates, and I couldn't hold back. But it's that powerful. It's that powerful a ritual. But this is a pagan holiday, and I will eventually give it up. I will definitely give it up. But I found it really hard this year to even do anything along them lines. But my work is very themed around this time of year. The entertainment that we do, we completely flip the script this time of year, and everything we do is Christmas related. It's kind of hard not to get into the spirit of things because, you know, it coincides with my work because I grew up without it as a Jehovah's Witness. It's always something that I've kind of somewhat idolized. I love the lights, I love the atmosphere in my home at Christmas, but I do recognize that it's a paganized holiday, and it's definitely something I'd like to give up eventually. Finally, I do a lot of videos about fasting and dieting, and I actually said in the last one that by December I'd be back in shape. But what I've come to realize through, I typed in yo-yo dieting, and I thought, this is who I am. Because when I go through like my Instagram and stuff, I literally fluctuate between 125 pounds to 150, maximum 160, but I'd say about 150, 3 or 4 times a year. And it's a habit that didn't even notice how much I was doing it and how often I was doing it, and almost at the exact same times a year. So when I got really slim in the summer this year, it wasn't realistic and it wasn't something that I could maintain, and my body started to fight me against it. So I'm still trying to find a balance. I kind of fast naturally now because I'm used to the habit. But and there's an awful lot of things that I don't eat just because I try to cut out. Well, I pretty much do cut out processed food now. It's not even an effort to do so. I just, my body doesn't want it. But I'm definitely not at the size that I would like to be. I reckon I haven't weighed myself in a while, but I'm probably about 150 right now, to be fair. And it's been hard. It's been quite depressive because I said in earlier videos I get so much more attention when I'm practically down to no attention. When I'm women, we need attention. When I'm like 120, 25 pounds, oh, the attention is non-stop, and it's nice to be complimented, and it's nice to feel beautiful, and it's nice to put on your clothes and it fits you well and stuff. Once I go past that, it's I don't feel as comfortable. I don't get male attention, and like I said, it's pretty depressive. But yeah, I'm one for learning. Sometimes I talk about things with so much confidence, but then I learn that, oh, you actually don't know shite. And this is one of them topics where I thought I knew a lot more than I did. Another thing that was like that for me while making these videos is I was completely convinced about cloning. And really and truly, that is so anti-Christian. There is no humans remaking humans. It just doesn't go like that. We're looking at MK mind control, which makes more sense because they've been doing it since war times. It's obviously developed massively since then. And I'd imagine that's a lot of what's going on with Kanye right now. But yeah, my point is that I'm a learner, so my opinion sometimes might flip, but it is what it is. But yeah, so if this recording sounds good, I definitely would like to do it a lot more frequently. Probably once or twice a month. I've been watching a lot of shits and gigs. Yeah, them guys are addicted. They are hilarious. Oh, they are so funny. I've even developed some of their language because I've been watching them so much. But yeah, I like their strive, and I like the fact that they committed to doing it twice a week and the results, and they almost made me want to test that as a theory because it worked in other walks of my life. I'm very consistent in the things that I genuinely want to be successful at. Although this is more for pleasure and stuff, I'm just competitive by nature. It's that quality in me. I want to call it masculine because it is. I guess as a businesswoman and stuff, it just kind of comes naturally to be that way. But yeah, so I hope that this was a good one. Expect to hear from me again soon, and thank you for listening.